There's over 200 possible victims, and you know, there's all this evidence. We're just sifting through it, and now that there's just nothing here to see, right? Nothing here to see. Well, I think there is a lot there to see. I think there's so much to see that that they're either been threatened, or they've decided, the deep state has decided that they want to keep this information so they can control certain powerful people, right? What else could it be? What else could it be? And the crazy part is no one can even get mad for us speculating and having these kind of theories and these tinfoil hat theories, because you're not telling us the truth. So we know you're lying. So we have to assume the worst, right? Here's Tim Pool and what he had to say. I haven't watched this completely. Again, I've said it before. I like to react to a lot of this stuff with you. I just know what the information that's out there, and the people that other creators and friends of mine, who they're talking about, and so I just pull those up, and we can react together and maybe try to figure out what's going on here. And then in the end, we're going to get to the video, and I'm going to show you some some crazy stuff, and to what I know to be true, because I've been in that situation, in the shoe, in a controlled prison environment that is exactly like the one that they're showing us. But we'll get to that at the end. And but let's talk about these files for a minute.
I'll read some more of the tweets from Grok. So I screenshotted these because I knew they were going to get deleted right away, and they're gone now. One guy said, Grok being based was not on my bingo card. Congrats on being J-pilled, Grok. Grok responded, thanks. If
the wrong one. Sorry, guys, that's the wrong one. Timcast. Is this? I think this is the one. Sorry, guys, I'm an idiot.
It's edited. They say the conclusion of that Epstein died by suicide is further supported by video footage from the common area of the special housing unit where Epstein was housed at the time of his death. As DOJ Inspector General explained in 2023, anyone entering or attempting to enter the tier where Epstein's cell was located from the SHU common area would have been captured by the footage. The FBI.
SHU stands for Special Housing Unit. That's all that stands for. A lot of people have all these like crazy theories, like, oh, I think it's this, you know, it's Special Housing Unit is what it's called. It's where you go if you're in protective custody. It's where you go if you've gotten a fight on the yard, or if you get caught with contraband like a tattoo machine or drugs. It's where you go as the SHU, but they call it the SHU.
Guys, independent review of this footage confirmed from the time Epstein was locked in his cell at around 10:40 p.m. on August 9th, 2019 until around 6:30 a.m. the next morning, nobody entered any of the tiers of the SHU.
That's clearly not as unedited as they would.
It's not only is it actually edited, but it shows a guy walking in one of the rooms. I don't know what that room is. So what is the purpose of this video? So let me just say, they're not claiming Epstein did nothing wrong
to the bathroom.
They actually say that he did, but they're claiming he had no clients, no evidence of third-party wrongdoing, and everyone's basically saying, yo, that's ridiculous, highly unlikely, and the video footage they put out makes no sense. It's edited. There's people coming and going. I don't understand what they were trying to claim.
None of it does anything to satisfy people that are curious about.
And I'll show you what they're claiming.
Regardless of what your opinion is, whether you think that Epstein killed himself or he was murdered or whatever, the information that's been released does nothing but muddy the waters more and make people doubt the reliability of an organization that already has serious problems with credibility.
That's right.
So I feel like this was pointless and all it did was make things worse.
It did. It made things a lot worse. It made things a lot worse for me. I've almost switched parties because of it. I mean, I don't think I ever would, because out of the two bad, I feel like I'm supporting the right administration and party. But I feel like that could change. If you would have asked me that 6 months ago, I would have wanted to fight you. So life is crazy. Life is crazy. Here's Cash. Here's a before and after of Cash Patel. And let me start it from the beginning.
Why is the FBI protecting the greatest pederast, the largest scale pederast in human history?
Simple, because of who's on that list. You don't think that Bill Gates is lobbying Congress night and day to prevent the disclosure of that list? And why is it that the Senate,
Absolutely.
it's good for Senator Blackburn to try to get it out, but then Dick Durbin comes over the top and says, no, we're not going to release the names. I don't care about the list itself, but if release the names, right?
And I've said it, Dan Bongino said it, we've reviewed all the information and the American public is going to get as much as we can release. He killed himself. Do you think, let's play out the logical conclusion of this. Do you think that myself, Bongino, and others would participate in hiding information about Epstein's grotesque activities? Or do you think we would also participate in not prosecuting people we had evidence to prosecute people on? Where's the videotape of an Epstein Island of X, Y, and Z committing these frauds? Why haven't you given it to us? Do you really think I wouldn't give that to you if it existed?
I didn't think you would before. Now I don't think you are. I don't think you are. I think you guys are holding it. You're hiding it for some reason that the only thing it could be is that, except for maybe like the lives of your family are threatened or something like that, is that the deep state has had a meeting with Cash, with Pam, with Bongino, and they're like, look, they just laid it all on the table and gave them the reasons why it couldn't come out. I don't know what those reasons are. We can only speculate, right? I think I just seen Caddy Connie and Loudmouth Linda said they're going to do a show on this tomorrow. Let's all try to be there for that. I think that should be good. They have a lot of insight on these kind of issues. I don't know how to think or feel about Cash Patel anymore. So I'm gonna save my opinion on him for the future, and so I can work it out. And really, I'm gonna get in prayer about it. I'm gonna pray about it, and then just try to meditate and listen to see what the answers, if I can attain any answers, from God. So here's Alina Haba on Piers Morgan just a short while ago.
But in this case, in Epstein's case, it is incredibly disturbing. We have flight logs, we have information, names that will come out.
Is it going to be shocking?
I don't see how it's not shocking that
They said they had flight
were
logs,
so many
names.
individuals that were hidden and kept secret and not been held accountable. Let's talk about the reverse. I believe in accountability. So you have to now go through your process. Now, I won't say they're guilty until they go through their time in court. But again, now it's time for accountability. We have seen for so many years, Pierce, in this country, many investigations, subpoenas, testimonies in Congress, et cetera, et cetera. But there's a general frustration with accountability. We take it halfway, we don't take it home. And I really believe that now with Cash and Pam, there will be accountability. But in this case, in Epstein's case, it is incredibly disturbing.
With Cash and Pam, there's going to be accountability. We banked on that. We really did. Before the election, we banked on that. The only people to bring Cash and Pam into the fray would have been Donald Trump, and that was a big reason why I think we all supported Trump. And so now a lot of commentators and creators are saying that, well, it's not Trump, that's hiding it. It's them. But the buck stops with Trump. It really does. And I really need to stop saying his name because now my video is going to get shadow banned. And this is my retirement, right? So I don't know how you guys feel about this. It's unbelievable. The information that's been shown is I'm just looking for is questionable. The video is questionable. The report that came out when Epstein first unalived himself, supposedly, you guys know my theory. I think he's alive. I think they took him out of there, and they show this video of him going back to his cell. Well, we really don't know if that's him going back to his cell, because all you can see is the top of his head, supposedly. And then them finding him in the morning. They tried to show all the hours before, but that's been edited. I don't think what's been edited hides people going in there and taking him out and unaliving him. I think it's Epstein getting out. I really do. I think it's him getting out of the unit and them taking him into some kind of witness protection. But it wouldn't be witness protection. It just would be hiding. And then he, whatever, he's getting, facial reconstruction. I know this all sounds super conspiratorial, facial not recognition, but them, changing his face, the way he looks. I think that's really what's going down. So here's CoffeeZilla, who is an amazing creator he's basically an investigative journalist in my eyes. Here's what was released to us when Epstein first unalived himself.
Actually looks like. Here's the framing we see. And now we're going to compare that to the official report, June 2023, of Epstein's cell. They lay out a structure of the jail cell and the jail itself. And here you can see it's a two-leveled system. There's a lower tier, there's an upper tier, and Epstein was in the L tier, okay?
And here's where my history and my knowledge, here's where I can really form an educated opinion on all of this. And we're going to get to that here over the next hour.
Here is where the camera actually was that we're seeing. We're going to go ahead and go through this so you can see that's what it looks like. There's upper floor, lower floor. Epstein was located on the upper floor in what's called the L tier. Okay.
So if you see the staircase going up, Epstein's cell would be, I don't know if you guys can see my mouse. It's really small, but Epstein's cell will be directly up those stairs and the first cell on the right side. So you can't see his door, but you could see if that's the only way in and out of that tier of that. They call it a run. So each one of those are runs. And the floor itself is called a tier, but his door is the first cell to the right. Right. So if anyone was to come in and out, you would see him on that video. But I'm going to get to how someone could have come in and out and not be seen on the video.
Which is right here. You can see it even better from here. Here's Epstein's cell. Here's the hallway. And right here is the camera.
The camera that he just pointed out is the camera that wasn't working. Well, it wasn't recording. It was streaming, but it wasn't recording, supposedly. And it hadn't been recording for a while. I think like 19 days before that or something. I think it stopped recording on the 10th. This was recorded on the 9th or the 29th.
Which was not recording, unlike what Kash Patel sort of insinuates that they're going to release that footage. They don't have that footage. According to them, the recording wasn't working. It was streaming, but not recording. The footage apparently had the DVR system stopped working about 10 days before all of this happened.
I just said
this
that.
is in their own report. That's not me saying that. Around July 29th, I believe, it stopped recording as it was supposed to. Now, here's where you can see what actually was recording the day of. So you can see this is the camera that we have access to, and it's looking this way. So that camera footage we see is not of Epstein's cell at all. You can't see it. Instead, this is the guard station over here, and the staircase is like this little, like 3 pixels right there. So it's an actual joke if you think that this footage somehow had a perfect line of sight of Epstein's jail cell and you couldn't have run an op right, even during the missing 1 minute window because, we had a perfect line of sight on his door. They don't. And the cameras were not recording. As testified here, and it's crazy, the FBI director is spreading misinformation going, I don't know who told you that. You guys told us that. These cameras right here are streaming, but not recording. You can see it right there. There's Epstein's cell. That's the camera that would have been on him. It's not there. And yet he goes in front of millions of people and tells people otherwise. It's so irresponsible.
The cell. And if they had gotten into the cell, you would see it.
But we were told that the cameras were down.
Well, I don't know who said that.
But that was in the news.
Yeah, again, it wasn't just in the news.
And I don't know how Kash Patel doesn't know who said that. He's supposed to be the head of the FBI, right? He's supposed to know all this information. Look, I know he's got to know a lot of information. There's lots of other things going on, drug cartels, millions of investigations, right? And it might be close to millions or a million investigations all going on at once. Yeah, he has tons of people under him, but with something this big, something that you've been out talking about, making the rounds, talking about before the files were supposed to be released, you should know what's being said out there. So to claim that you don't know, I think is a lie. But he lied multiple times on the Joe Rogan show. We all seen it. The body language experts have come out and they've pretty much proven by little tics that he does when he lies, these little nervous stress tics that he does, that he didn't do when he was talking about the truth about the Democrats covering it. No one's releasing it. It's going to be released as soon as we get into power, if we get into power, and it truly is a lot of power. And but the story has changed now, and his body language shows it. It's all over his face. The tics he does with his mouth, he bites his bottom lip. All the things that you would expect from someone lying to do, and he does it. Let's watch this a little bit more.
It was in the government's report. Okay, so that's that. So now we're going to see the camera that we're actually getting footage of, right? So this is a video. You can see that's cell 46. Here's the camera that was recording, and you can see it highlighted here. You'll also be able to see that the staircase is partially obstructed because of this wall right here, okay? So these tiny 3 pixels are seeing the edge of the staircase. Here's where they even highlight it for you. Again, this is not my diagram. This is the government's own diagram. This is the stairway to Epstein's cell. Here's the officer station, as we stated.
The officers that were
And here's the non-recording camera. Again, this is the government and looking at Epstein's cell. According to them, there had been catastrophic disk failures and no recordings would have been available after July 29th, 2019. And of course, all this happened on August 9th to the 10th, 2019. Now, An important thing
I had that
is
wrong.
this mystery man that comes up in the footage, because previously I was kind of thinking this footage kind of didn't show anything. It definitely doesn't show that nobody was there because you can't really see it. The important cameras are missing, and there are ways to get in or through the staircase without people seeing you, which we'll kind of go over here. I think the idea that this was a perfect view of the staircase is just completely wrong, obviously. But there was also a whole narrative by the government that everybody was in their jail cell by 8 p.m. This is according to the staff. They say at approximately 8 p.m., August 9th, all inmates were locked in their cells for the evening, and there was no indication that any other inmate could have gotten out of their cells.
So now look, in the shoe, you're locked down 23-1. So you get 1 hour out in the morning to the rec yard. You don't come out. So the inmates are always in their cells, except for that in the morning time, or if they have to go to court, or if they have to go to a hearing, a disciplinary hearing, they'll come out. The showers are inside the cells, so they don't come out for showers. There was no reason, like when I've done like 9 months in the shoe before, waiting to be transferred to a different prison, and the only time I ever came out of my cell was to go to the rec yard in the morning. And a lot of times you didn't even do that because they come at like 4 o'clock in the morning to sign you up for rec. And then you have to be at your door and your bed has to be made. And a lot of guys just don't do that because it's so early in the morning. And I was one of those guys. I just didn't get up to be at my door. What we're going to see in the video is that they're supposed to be doing rounds every hour where they walk and they look in each window. They do it pretty fast, but they take their flashlight if it's nighttime to make sure you're in your bed. They do it every hour. It's been like that forever. As I went to the feds in 2000, or maybe just before 2000, and that's the way it was then. So 25 years they've been doing those rounds. There's no way that they stopped doing those rounds to check on anybody. What you're going to see in the video is that no one ever does any rounds the entire evening. That's impossible. That's impossible. They just do it. They don't not do it. So that made sense, right? And so I don't know what to think of that. They said they were asleep. Well, those guys should be fired then. And then if he did take himself out, Epstein, if he did unalive himself, then those officers are responsible for that because they didn't do their rounds to check to see if he was okay and to see if everyone's okay. It's just the rules of the BOP. Let's get to the video. And then if you guys have any comments or questions, just do a CCC for a comment or a QQQ for a question when we get done watching the video. And I'll try to answer your guys' question as much as I can, which is I pretty much always have a question or an answer for a question when it comes to the BOP, the Federal Bureau of Prisons. And that's basically what we're talking about today. Let me find the video. The first thing